Did I just rip my pants?
I think I ripped my underwear. If I start passing out, I'll tell you guys.
Good.
Hey guys, we are back with another video. I'm actually going to be recording on my phone today because we upgraded. So we're going to see how the quality of this does in comparison to the camera. If I like this better, then I probably will just stick with the phone for the foreseeable future. But yeah, we got Thanksgiving week, big week of training. Probably going to throw up this week because we do have way more volume than expected. My coach has absolutely no mercy, but my girlfriend is putting together some cinnamon rolls for the squad at Exceed Performance. So they are spoiled because they are right now her guinea pigs as well. So that'll be nice. I get to eat all the rest of the cinnamon rolls that are left over. So I'm not making weight for anything. So I'm gonna knock down this breakfast and then we'll head out to the gym. So I will see you guys in a bit. Top set of 6 today again. I think that's going to be the goal for most of the time, to just jump up by about 7.5 to 10 kilos every week, see where we end up. I think for all 3 lifts, we're going pretty conservatively light on the first week. And then after that, we're kind of allowing ourselves to build up pretty progressively throughout the next 4 weeks. So hopefully squat will end at around 462 to 464 for a set of 6, which would be an all-time PR, would be a huge PR. And then deadlift will probably end at 551 for 4. It's like a semi-PR, but not really. But it would just be nice to kind of hit that at the end of the block to kind of get back my momentum before we go into whatever my coach has me do afterwards. So we're going to probably hit 530 or 430 today, and then we'll go from there. Bench should be pretty easy this block too. Pretty straightforward more than anything else. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Let me put these damn knee sleeves on. Passing out. I'll tell you guys, I'll finish it through.
Grab that front.
All right, so that did not 100% go as planned. It went a lot better than expected. Having a little bit of issues with my right hip where it's kind of locking up as I'm coming down to my squat. So it's making it much harder for me to be able to focus putting pressure into the floor. That's fine. We're going to address it. My sister, thankfully, is a massage therapist, so we're going to work on it this week. And then hopefully by next week we'll be good. That actually was my best, like bracing, foot pressure, and everything. So I'm really happy with it. Compared to last week, it was really rough. So hopefully next week we can go 451 for 6, which would be really sick. And then we'll see where we end at week 4, which I think will be very possible, but I might pass out since I have a tendency to do that. So got to get my fitness up between now and then. Hopefully we'll be ready to go. So we're going to go into bull bar. Then, yeah. enjoy the rest of the workout, guys. Remember, guys, sometimes it's appropriate to do hard things. Sometimes you just don't want to do 2 sets of 6 on deadlifts, you do 1 set of 12. Sometimes instead of doing all your accessories, you do 1 set of 100 on some random exercise. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's torture. Just embrace the suck. Pause. Like that. You're fine, sweetie. So it's only fair that I do the 100 leg extensions. Doing with 2 plates. My girlfriend did a plate. Client did plate 25. I'll do 2 plates. So 200.
Oh,
200?
shit, I was close.
This guy. 200 is crazy. Yeah. See, I'm a team player. So that is week 2, day 1 of training this week. So definitely was better than expected, but also not as good as I wanted it to be. Like I said in the video earlier, my right hip has definitely been having some issues, so that has not been fun with dealing with it, but I think we'll get it addressed this week and then we'll be better by next week, hopefully. Deadlift should be fine. Bench will have no issues. Bench has been actually moving very well setup wise, so I'm not too concerned. But hopefully by the end of this block, we'll walk out with some nice PRs and we'll be back to hitting, you know, triples, doubles, whatever fun stuff my coach will hopefully have in store for me. But if not, then Keith, I'm begging, please. I just want to lift heavy things again, but it's fine. Accessories have been fun. I think that's one of the things that with my training has definitely changed, has been prioritizing my accessories a little bit more. I have done a pretty poor job of actually pushing my accessories, actually even doing them, because I'm a terrible powerlifter, and just taking care of my health in general. So even after this video is over and everything, I'm going to do cardio because health. And really trying to hone in on the little things that I have been doing a poor job on executing the last couple of meets. So hopefully this off season will have the best growth and we'll see what happens. But with that being said, I want to transition into a topic that I have been waiting to talk about because it has been swept under the rug quite a few times. And I feel like it needs to be addressed finally. I'm not a big content creator. I would say I'm pretty small within the world, but I feel like I have grown enough of a platform on multiple platforms to finally have a voice. And I'm hoping that with this longer form rant, hopefully it'll reach the right audience. And then as the channel grows, maybe more people will see it. And hopefully we'll be able to see some change within powerlifting, specifically within the international side. So for those of you who are not aware, recently a really big time lifter named by Agata was given a 1-year suspension for not participating at the World Games, given to her by the Polish Federation that is the pipeline into the IPF. Okay, so why this matters is because this isn't the first time IPF, along with its pipeline federations, have made these really, really bad decisions towards its athletes and poor care towards its athletes, trying to justify it by saying that it's against the rules within Article 14. Now, if you don't know what Article 14 is, it is a rule that basically states that you are not allowed to participate in a non-sanctioned meet and will be given a 1-year suspension if you do. Now, this doesn't just apply to athletes. This applies to referees, coaches, spotters and loaders. And why that is, I don't know. And that's what's so frustrating, is because there's no
official statement from the IPF directly that has ever stated why this rule exists. And I feel like it's a very, very clear way for a federation to monopolize. And I feel like the bigger powerlifting has gotten, the more that this rule has become a problem. I think it's very easy when powerlifting was a lot smaller for a federation to get away with this. But I think now it's gone to the point where it's getting really, really ridiculous that a lot of smaller federations that are pipelines into the IPF are experiencing these power trips to where they feel like they can make these really big decisions towards athletes that are representing their country. Specifically Poland, towards Agata. Agata is probably one of the best female powerlifters of all time. So the fact that they made this decision really does affect powerlifting, because it just goes to show the lack of value top name lifters actually are within these smaller federations. And she didn't participate within a non-sanctioned federation. She just chose not to do World Games. That was it. And was given a 1-year suspension with really no rhyme or reason, or no true reason as to why. And that's completely unacceptable. Why is it that other federations, USPA, USAPL, ABS, just to name a few, have absolutely no rules that state this, and yet IPF's the only one? And when you go to smaller countries, and when I've talked to athletes from other countries, they have said that it's very difficult for them to participate in powerlifting as much as they would want to, because it's very expensive, because the federations that are available to them are only federations that are pipelined into the IPF, making them a lot more expensive and very difficult to want to do it recreationally. So you have to really be willing to sacrifice a lot to be able to do a sport that shouldn't have you sacrificing so much just to participate as a hobby, right? So with that being said, I feel like Article 14 needs to go. I feel like it's definitely one of those things where we need that change within the sport. Powerlifting has already been seen as a bit of a joke within the sports world as much as it's grown. A lot of older generation powerlifters don't want to see the progression of the sport become more entertaining, because back then powerlifting was a platform, couple of folding chairs, and Metallica in the background, which is great if that's what you're into, but that's not where powerlifting is anymore. But then on top of that, you also have federations like the IPF that are taking away opportunities from the athletes because they want to monopolize as much as they can and make as much money as possible. But where that money goes, we don't know. Because on top of that, they're trying to get rid of knee sleeve brands and stiff sleeve brands, I guess I should say, to be able to make way for SBD to be the prime brand to be used within the IPF. And it's pretty clear what the intentions are. They want to monopolize, make as much money as possible. But again, where that money goes, we don't know. Because the world's world game production value, world's productions value is honestly pretty grotesque, to say the least. Sheffield's pretty dope, but there's only a small number of athletes, so I feel like that's pretty easy to put on a great production for. But there's other federations such as ABS that have been doing a really good job with putting up some pretty amazing meets production-wise all around the world. So I feel like that's not an excuse. I feel like it's very well possible, and that they don't want to do anything about it. So for those of you who are in support of Article 14, I'm really curious to know as to why you would be, considering that a lot of the rule has nothing to do with the athletes. It has to do with other people in general. WADA doesn't care about who you compete with. They're just there to make sure you're not taking super supplements and making sure they use their best testing strategies to do so. That's it. They don't care about powerlifting specifically, because WADA is in charge of a multitude of different sports, not just powerlifting. So other sports are able to participate in other federations, but yet powerlifting can't within the IPF. Makes absolutely no sense. So curious to see why people would be in support of it. And so again, just because a federation is drug tested, it doesn't mean that it's drug free. IPF definitely showed that with allowing an athlete to take a super supplement for 3 years and podium, did nothing about it. But, that person obviously got suspended, but they took away an opportunity for someone that actually was deserving of the podium to take it. But because the IPF chose not to test them when it was presented, then that person got away with it. So I feel like that's a very, very desperate change that needs to be had within powerlifting on the international side. If it doesn't, then powerlifting will continue to regress backwards or just stay stagnant. And that is no one else's fault but our own. If we don't say anything, if we don't do anything about it. And other federations, please take note of this as well. You guys are the representation for us. If you guys start making these really, really poor decisions within the higher ups, the presidents, the referees, the governing bodies, you are putting the athletes in a very, very tough position. And we just want to be able to participate. We just want to be able to compete and have fun doing what we do. So if you guys are trying to find a way to make as much money as you can and screwing over your athletes, trying to find a way to jeopardize the safety of your athletes, or punishing your athletes for participating in other federations in any way, shape, or form, you are doing your athletes a disservice. There is no powerlifting without the athletes. And the more these rules come out, the more these instances come out, the more people are going to leave the sport, and we will have absolutely nothing to show for it, and we have no one to blame but ourselves. So with that being said, hopefully this reaches the right audience. I'll try to get the message out as much as we can, and I appreciate you guys listening to this rant. With that being said, like, comment, subscribe, and as always, hit those PRs, and I will see you on the platform.